This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your fridge with a pussy magnet.
Welcome, my lovely lumps. Or should I say lovely labs? I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge. We're going to yarn about all things sexuality, womanhood, relationships, intimacy, holistic health, and everything in between. Your legs. Ooh, can't help myself. Anyway, we're going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up, you're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and have a bloody good laugh while you're at it. Before we dive in, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. It's an absolute privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content in Naarm, and I pay respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, if you're ready, let's flap and do this. Oh my God, is there such thing as too many vagina jokes in the one intro? Whatever, it's my podcast. I'm leaving it in.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up a couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
Hey gang, just before we jump into this episode, I wanted to offer you an opportunity to access my new mini course for free before I start charging for it in future. It's for people with vulvas and it's quick to complete. It's all about demystifying the female body and pleasure anatomy and getting some basic fundamentals to understand your body better. It's called Pussy Pleasure Secrets, Your Roadmap to Bedroom Bliss. You can grab it on the freebies page of my website or in the show notes. It's a great little free resource to kind of dip your toe in or act as a bit of a taster for my work. So if you've ever been curious about this sort of thing and you just don't know where to start, or you want a really quick, easy, accessible, non-threatening way to get the ball rolling and start working on this stuff, this is a great place to start. What's up, guys? I've lost my voice again after a fun boogie Celerino weekend out in the bush at a little festival. Possibly thinking I've done permanent damage to my vocal cords at this point, because I feel like it's been a solid 6 to 12 months since I've really had like a proper robust voice. I feel like I'm losing it basically at the drop of a hat. So if anyone knows a speech pathologist or has any idea about this kind of thing, let a gal know. But this episode is a really special one, as is pretty like typical with these impromptu kind of informal chats that I do at home. The audio quality isn't amazing, so apologies for that. I've done my best with the editing, but again, I just taught myself by Googling how to do this shit. So I'm definitely no audio engineer, tech pro. Hopefully it's listenable, but this is a really cool chat with my darling and dear housemate, who's just an absolute fucking G-bomb. And we discuss everything from, you know, how she's really intentionally bringing up her daughter and how we're going to attempt to do this in a really kind of open, sex positive, empowering way. We talk about a lot of stories from my housemate's childhood and teenage years when it comes to given gobbies and, you know, sexuality and her first masturbation experiences and hymens and all different stuff. We have some funny stories in there about more recent adventures, cane toad racing and all sorts of wacky stuff. So it's basically, yeah, a fucking mad episode. I don't know how I'm going to title it. I don't know how I'm going to encapsulate what we cover in this episode, because there's a lot in there, but I highly recommend giving it a go. It's very, very on brand for the Labia Lounge, and these are the kinds of chats and stories that I'm having on the reg with the people that are close to me that I love. And often I'm just like, fuck, can we just get a mic out and record this, because this is absolutely fire. If you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, I was kind of contemplating doing like a monthly episode with this particular guest, since we do live together. So maybe once, you know, her kid's down to bed at night, we can have a little recording sesh here and there. I do also have another chat that I did with her that doesn't have the best sound quality, and I was contemplating whether I'd publish it or not. It's pretty fucking raw dog though. We definitely have some serious cackles. And what I think I'll do is just put it on my Buy Me a Coffee page. And or Patreon, so that if you want to pay like $3 or whatever it is to subscribe and be a member and support my work fiscally, you can get access to that sort of extra content that's really quality content in terms of what's in it, but potentially not great sound quality and maybe even a little bit too out of pocket to publish on my professional platforms. So if you're interested in that and you want more of this kind of thing, please let me know. And yeah, there might be more to come. Definitely more to come on my Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee pages. Enjoy.
Cool. All right. Well, basically, I've heard some stories out of you that made me fucking squeal and screech and cackle, and I just like...
She's got a few.
She's got stories. And the first one that I'm like, that is the most on-brand thing ever. My listeners have to hear about this. I want to hear about the electric toothbrush story with your girlfriends in high school, or was it primary school? Did it start?
No, it was high school. It was quite early high school. I'd say year 7 or year 8. So pretty young. How old are you in year 7, year 8? Like 12, 13? Yeah, we were pretty young, and I was a year young for my year level as well. So I was sort of like the youngest out of all the
Love
friends.
that you were leading the charge on this.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if I was necessarily leading the charge per se, because I sort of just fell into this amazing group of girls where there were quite a few of us that were really just curious and interested in, you know, whatever. Like,
Pleasure.
yeah, and there was not a lot of rules. Like, we loved just being outrageous and getting a laugh. Like, anything that was a bit out there was humour for us. So
That's fucking sick.
yeah, it was really good. And I often think what my life would be like if I didn't have these girlfriends, because it's just sort of doesn't really seem like most teenage girls' experience, at least in our generation anyway. So I was so lucky. But ultimately we were camping out at my friend's property, and I'm going to say we were in year 8. I think it was for her birthday, and so it was like quite the first quarter of year 8, pretty early in the year. And someone at the door.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, do I have to put a top on? Can I just stay here?
No, you stay there.
All right. So sorry that we just got all oiled up and everything. At least that means it's done. Is it the smoke alarm guy?
Yeah.
Detector inspector or some shit?
It is.
Oh my God. I still get texts from them from like a house from years ago. Yeah. All right, I'm going to angle my chair so he can't see my nerps.
He just told me he's doing a full electrical inspection. It's going to take an hour.
Ew.
I was like, well, you can just do what you want. I'm just going to be in the backyard.
Yeah. Oh, nah. That sucks though that you have to have clothes on.
Well, I don't, because he's going to be in the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck it.
I'll just lay down here.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's super annoying. Man, what a day.
Ugh. I know. Fucking hell.
Cut that bit out.
You're not recording, are you?
Yeah, just
Oh, you are?
on.
Damn, yeah, I hate that I like just started that story too. Do I need to start again?
No, where did you get up to? You were at a birthday party.
Yeah, we were camping at my friend's property. And some of the details are a bit foggy. I can't recall how we actually came into possession of this toothbrush and came of the realisation that this electric toothbrush could be used as a sex toy. But there was a type of electric toothbrush that was for sale back in the early 2000s where you could take the head off. And when you take the head off an electric toothbrush these days, it looks quite harsh. Like you think, oh, how could that pleasure the clit? It's sharp, yeah, but this toothbrush wasn't like that. It had like a little rounded tip.
Okay, so yeah, this electric toothbrush had like a perfectly designed sort of head if you took off the brush to be able to whack on your clit and use as a vibrator.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of that. That's common. So many people will relate to this, I reckon.
Yeah.
But not not the next bit, I guess.
Well, because we were so young and curious and I guess
Free of shame.
free of shame.
Somehow.
To some degree, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say the shame probably crept in later, but at this point in time, I think we were so young that maybe our parents didn't really know what was going on. So there wasn't a lot of, no real stigma attached to it. But yeah, we would literally share the toothbrush amongst us.
Oh my God, I just coughed and farted. Did you hear that fart? It was tiny, but it was in your direction.
Will I smell it?
No.
Hope the mic picks it up. So we would literally lay, if it wasn't in the tent at the birthday party, but what followed was this obsession with the toothbrush where every time we'd have a sleepover, we would lay in the bed like, three little pigs, like just squealing with excitement. And we would just be passing the toothbrush back and forward until, you'd have an orgasm and then it would be like, no, it's my turn. Like, it was,
oh my God.
yeah, and it was so...
Hurry up, give it to me.
Yeah, you've been having it for ages, like...
And did you just keep passing it around and having like multiple orgasms?
Yeah, essentially. Yep, over and over and over again for hours, which was, the earliest introduction to self-pleasure that I can think of. The downside is that it definitely led to a reliance on sex toys to be able to experience orgasm, which I think a lot of women can relate to, and a lot of women have that issue. So, yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I guess the most amazing thing for me is that, it wasn't like, something that wasn't talked about in our friend group. It was like a communal activity of sorts.
Oh.
It was so funny.
I just love that.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff, really. And like people would be like, oh, that's gross. Like when you think about it now, you're like, oh, that's disgusting. But it's like, we were so innocent. Like we were virgins. We were like, it was just a toothbrush amongst friends. It's not some like, it's not some big like, horny, orgy where we're all like, we're not pashing and like it wasn't like really sexually fueled like that. It was literally just
pleasure, innocent pleasure,
and like 100%.
Exploration and getting to know cool things that your body can do.
Yeah.
And doing that like among friends, like that's so fucking sick because that would have like safeguarded you from potentially like, I've heard people sort of experience self-pleasure and orgasm, when they're young and be like, what the fuck just happened? What is this? Am I the only person that this happens to? Is this a good thing? Is this not? Because they've already had like layers of conditioning and shame around genitals. So when something feels really nice, but they have shame and they think that area is like dirty or sinful to touch or whatever, they feel quite ashamed and don't tell anyone about it. This cool thing that their body can do, but then it's like so mingled with shame and guilt, so they can't just fully enjoy it and be curious about it because it's sort of, it's like double-edged sword. And so it's just beautiful that like you not only were like free of shame at that time, found something cool that your body could do, explored pleasure and arousal, and like got to like giggle and have fun with your friends and support each other to like be explorative and curious. And like, I don't know, it was probably like quite bonding and this cute little thing that you did together and lots of endorphins. Yeah,
and also just like spreading that message amongst other friends as well, just like without any guilt or shame attached. Just like, oh yeah, you don't masturbate with a toothbrush? You gotta try it, like, it just became a point where we would, you'd go to Woolies and you'd innocently buy an electric toothbrush and then you'd give it to their friend as a birthday present. Like, it was just such a thing, like spreading the joy in a really innocent and gorgeous way. And 100%, like still, I would still consider those girls like some of my best friends, like, because those experiences and those years that we shared together were just, like you said, bonding in a really, really important way. Yeah, and we thank each other regularly. We're like, thank you so much for being there in those really impressionable years of puberty, because I would not have turned out that way. And we all echo that same sentiment amongst us, because it is such a special thing.
Wow, that's incredible. I don't think many people had that.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm so lucky. And you know the weird thing, like even when then, because I grew up in such a tiny country town, like, you know, it was before the days of, I mean, there was dial-up internet, obviously, but it was before the days of, you know, just jumping on Love Honey and buying whatever fucking toy you like. And, you know, it's not like we were watching porn, and there was none of that. It was so innocent. But I remember when we discovered that the local, like, gift shop sold dildos. It was the only place you could buy a sex toy in town, was at this local gift shop, which was run by this, like, really odd woman. And I remember my mum finding that in my drawer, and I got in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, her reaction was not a favourable one, and I understand now that she was probably just in shock. Yeah, it was definitely just from a place of shock, and she was just projecting her shame onto me, really. But she confiscated my dildo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember being like, whoa, what the hell? What just happened? So weird being that age and having your mum confiscate your dildo. I was like, what's she going to do with it?
Did you feel, like, who went into the gift shop and bought it? Like, did you feel worried that, especially small country town vibes, that like it would get out, or there was anything to be embarrassed or ashamed about? Like, did you try to hide it from your mum, or you didn't realise until that moment that it was something that might not be okay or whatever?
Yeah, look, I definitely didn't want her to know that I was doing it. Like, when I think about my earliest moments of being sprung by my mum, it was actually like rocking on the edge of the couch. You know how a lot of, like, that's your first feeling of, oh wow, there's a pleasure point there on my pubic bone. Like, I remember being told to, like, get off the couch and, like, stop, like, what are you doing? Stop rocking on the couch or rubbing on the table edge, because I was just like, so yeah, I definitely think it was, I didn't want her to know that I was doing it. It wasn't going to stop me from doing it, but it just was not something that I was, you know, felt that I was able to do freely in my home anymore. So
yeah, whoa, that reminds me of a story that I think I did, like, a Labia Lounge, like, talk or workshop at some little private event, and it sparked a few stories among the audience, and one of them was so precious. Basically, like, this guy had gone to, like, a school camp in maybe, like, year 6, maybe year 6 or 7 or something. Bunch of 11 or 12-year-old boys, and they, like, you know, they're in the dorms with the bunk beds and whatever, and he remembers this one kid coming, like, it was probably coming back from, like, school holidays or whatever, and then they had this camp, and he was like, oh my God, like, guys, like, guess what I've discovered? Like, you've got to check this out, like, watch this. He's like, I just was, like, in the bath, like, kind of, like, playing with my penis, and then, like, this thing started to happen. I'll show you. So they've got a circle of, like, young boys standing around this boy, and he drops his yaks and he starts doing this, like, almost like not gripping it and, like, going up and down like a regular, like, wanking motion. But he's obviously figured out, because he was just playing with his flaccid penis as a child in the bath, and he's kind of flopping his hand like this. Like, how would I even describe that?
Like flicking his wrist in a way, with his penis in his hand still.
Sort of loosely, like, flicking his wrist with his dick just sort of flopping about, and then it starts growing and getting harder, and he's like, and then it just, like, it's sort of, like, got really big, and he's like, you just keep doing this, and
so
you just go really
wanking in front
fast.
Of his friends.
Yeah,
he's wanking in front
like,
of his
then you go really fast, and you just, like, keep going, and then this thing happens, and he jizzed in his hand, and everyone was like, whoa, like, what? And he, you know, was, like, walking around the circle, like, showing them this, like, load in his hand, and they're all, like, kind of, like, poking it and touching it and, like, stretching it between their fingers and giving it a sniff and being like, whoa, like, because obviously they're at that age where, they were just starting like some of them were starting to hit
To
puberty. and they
ejaculate,
hadn't-
yeah.
Yeah, and like get erections, and they hadn't really seen cum before. And
How did he
was
get it
just
in his
this, like,
hand?
I guess
That's a good feat,
aimed,
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He might have just held over the top of his dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so innocent, so pure, so like curious and like excited about this cool thing that his fucking dick can do. And everyone's like, you know, minus any, because also like this guy was similar age to me. So back then they weren't all on the porn.
Yeah.
When they were fucking
We
8.
definitely weren't influenced by that unless you like, I remember seeing, you know, my dad had like VHS, you know, stashed it
Yeah.
in his undies drawer or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, cool. I'm sure there was a bit of that floating around, but it's not accessible.
Yeah, but like
nowhere near.
somehow, like this would not happen nowadays because of the internet and
Yeah.
porn. But like somehow that group of like however many, you know, 15 kids, boys, had still never seen semen and didn't know that their dick could do that.
It's crazy.
And so they were like fascinated. And it's just so gorgeous, like how stripped of any of the shame, like it is just this interesting kind of impressive thing that
It
your
is,
body can
100%.
produce. And yeah, he wasn't ashamed. He was, you know, and everyone was just. So I love that. And then the other thing I want to say is like, this kind of leads into like how we've been like. So your daughter, who's 3, about to turn 4, for the last maybe 6 months or so, has been sort of talking about, you know, her genitals and like getting kind of curious. Like saw you putting a tampon in, and then was like, "What's that?" And then was like, it was a Christmas time, and she was like trying to shove like Christmas decorations up there, being like, "I've got a tampon, like mum," and like getting kind of curious about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we've been chatting about like, you know, how to talk to her about it, and what, you know, when she asks questions, how to respond, what we're going to do when she starts pleasuring. And yeah, just like we were riffing on, actually wrote some of them down, riffing on like a name, because I was like, oh, I know like some mums that have like a little corner that's all cozy and maybe a little like sort of semi-private. Maybe it's got a curtain, maybe it's like in a cubby house, maybe it's like, you know, the little teepee that we've got in the living room, all cushions, and it's like their little self-pleasure corner where they can go and like not feel ashamed but feel like it's a special thing, but just that, you know, they have a safe space to go and do that's semi-private. And so rather than being like, don't do that in public or whatever, we can just encourage her to use her, you know, little space. And so we were brainstorming names for it. I've got, and like people can write in with names.
Yeah, give us some suggestions.
But yeah, I've got Clam Cafe,
That sounds kind of fucked.
the Bean Room.
The bean room is great.
That's
I love
funny
that.
because like the Green Room, Maz Cave, Queen Cave, and Pussy Shed. That's all we had, but it was a fucking fun thing to try to brainstorm.
Yeah. I love the idea of it. I do feel like even having a room or introducing the notion of a private space, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just so paranoid about sexual assault or like that kind of creeping in. Like the thought of her knowing that there's a private place where she can't be interrupted doing stuff like that, there's still something about that just feels a little bit sticky to me. I guess I'm just on such high alert for like anything, which is like probably need to bring myself down from that a bit.
Say
it's
more
probably
on that though, like because that sort of predisposes her to, like, how is that risky if it's in the home and no one else is allowed in?
Yeah, that's true. I guess like in your own home, totally fine. I just really want to foster a super open relationship with her where, you know, that's like some people would probably be like, oh, why are you putting tampons in front of your 3-year-old daughter? It's like, that's the way that I want to raise her. I always go to the toilet with the door open. I let her see my body, you know, at any time of the day or night. You know, I don't want her to feel any shame about toileting or natural bodily, you know, functions whatsoever. And I feel like masturbation is sort of a bit of an extension of that, like in some respects. And as someone that has also just been manipulated to the nth degree by someone that I trusted. I guess I'm just acutely aware that anyone can be manipulated by anyone, right? Like, and it could be someone that I do trust and that we let into our home. It's one of those things, like, the more you know and the more you research some things, it's like it can be so triggering as well. Like, even seeing, I saw today, I follow this Instagram page called Project Rescue Children, and they, talk about, like, big busts in, children, sex trafficking, and, they report on, like, major cases of sexual assault. And they reported that there's a bikies against bikies against sexual assault, and the vice president of that has just been charged with child sex offences. It's like, these people hide in plain sight. They literally, put themselves in position where they should be trusted. Yeah. So, like, even in the home, because I feel like that's a lot of the time where the perpetration happens as well. Is that a word? Perpetration?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. Like, it is. It's family members, or it's cousins. It can be child-on-child sexual assault is also something that is really widely not discussed enough, because there's also a lot of shame on that for the parents, especially when it's he's just a kid. He didn't know what he was doing to his cousin. It's like, well, I'd argue he must have, maybe he's a victim himself. That's the only reason why he would
get the idea.
100%.
And modelling something. Yeah.
So,
I guess so. Like, what do you want to do, like, when it comes to that stuff then? Because, like, how do you, like, is it just like cool, just like Maz anywhere around the house whenever you want? Because we do have to introduce an element of, like, this is a special thing that you do in a safe space. Yeah. Not out in the world in front of people, whatever. Yeah. Like, if there's people that have come into the home that aren't people that are always here, whatever, like, and you want to do that, like, what, just bedroom or...
Yeah, I suppose so. Like,
it's a fine line without shaming them, hey? It's like,
really is.
If this is such a special fucking thing, then why do I have to hide it and go do it in private? It's a really
And that's what I mean. I feel like private, to me, the definition of private, it's like, I'm not expecting her to, like, feel 100% comfortable or to sit there and do it in front of me, but I also don't want her to feel like she does need to go to her room and close the door if she doesn't want to. She might be happy to just be... in her room with the door open, and that's okay too. I don't want to really push the idea that it needs to be private.
In a certain spot?
Yeah.
Well, I think, like, so my friend who I've had on the potty, we did a sex positive parenting episode, and she was talking about really similar stuff. She's like, I changed tampons and pads in front of her, blah, blah, blah. And she has a little corner that's, similar to what I was sort of suggesting with the little, like, teepee, which is, it's open, it's in the living room, but it's semi-private in that it can feel like a little cocoon, but it's still in the sort of, like, communal space. Yeah. She has, like, a corner in the living room with, like, half of it's curtained and there's cushions and stuff, but it's still, you can still see if there's someone in there, and you can still, it's not, like, so tucked away and private. And I guess it just changes at different ages as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I think... you have to be adaptable as a parent, because there's no rule book on when they are going to start, hitting certain milestones and doing certain things. So, and how they respond to those events accordingly. I guess in short, I don't really know. I think I know enough about my responses that it won't be a shameful one. And I will largely be led by her. And if she decides that, doing it somewhere private is better for her, then that's totally fine. But I do just want to make her feel like, that's her body and she can do what she wants with her body.
Sick. Tell me more about... oh my God. When you, I don't know how old you were, but you discovered that you had the hymen and it was preventing you from being able to get tampons in or something? Or just you just
No.
noticed a...
Yeah, my hymen story. I was quite young. I reckon I would have still been in primary school. It was before I started menstruating. But you hear a lot about, most people's hymen, or most...
Breaks naturally.
Yeah. Especially if you do sport, you know, if you do dancing or horse riding or something. So I started hearing about this and, I did nippers, I did soccer, I did dancing. So I wasn't a sedentary child. But I learned upon inspecting myself quite closely in the mirror that my hymen was still there. And so I just recall sitting on the counter, like where the basin is, and sitting right up
in
against...
the bathroom?
Yeah, in the bathroom, yeah. Because, they'd have a mirror behind the sink. I remember sitting up there just inspecting really closely, being like, there's a hole there, but there's nothing like, I couldn't go in, couldn't go through. I was like, wow. And the skin was quite thick. And I couldn't feel anything, like pinching it or poking it. It felt like, it wasn't like if someone was to pinch me on the arm. There was no nerve endings there, essentially. And again, I don't know if this is just instinct or what the hell, but I went and got a pair of scissors. Yep. It actually sounds so barbaric. It's
so gnarly, dude.
What the hell?
Oh, I was too scared to even look at my pussy in the mirror when I was a kid, let alone fucking...
What was I thinking? So yeah, I got a pair of scissors and cut my own hymen open.
And it didn't hurt?
Gave myself a vaginal opening.
Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't feel a thing. I did not feel a thing.
Because I guess you tested it with your fingers first. And
yeah, I knew, and I started really slowly. Like, I remember just, like, rubbing the point of the scissors and just being like, oh, what do I, like, should I do this? What do I do? And then once I started, it was just fascinating.
You must have had
I don't even think it bled much.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't
it
recall.
obviously was, practically just, like, dead skin. And, like, you obviously had, like, a... like pretty big coverage, because all hymens are so different. They can be like perforated with like little holes in them. They can be split down the middle. They can be like almost non-existent. They can be fully covering the entire opening. Like some can be tougher than others. So like yours was obviously like quite robust because it hadn't torn on its own and it was pretty thick, and it must have been covering enough of your opening that you were like able to see it and able to see that it was like blocking the opening.
Yeah. Well, I recall like I still had like my perineum was there. It was sort of like, picture this. This is not going to be great for a podcast because I'm using a visual description right now, but think of it like a basketball, or like this is the hymen, the basketball, and then this is the perineum, like at the bottom. Like it was sort of behind the little V that you'd experience at the very bottom there. So
you could see where the opening was
I could
meant to
see
be,
where
and
the
then there
opening was,
a
and then there was like a
curtain
curtain. Yeah, exactly. A curtain, which was like sphere-shaped in a way, like... Yeah, so it's crazy that I can still recall it. Yeah, it's actually...
crazy that you were so, like, explorative and adventurous and curious, like, to even do that in the first place. And then, like, bolshy enough to fucking snip your own hymen.
Dude.
And then after that, you just had, like, did you start, like, experimenting or exploring, like, penetrative stuff?
No, I don't think so. I think that was like, I was young enough. Yeah, that was definitely like prepubescent.
Yeah.
That was just more, I reckon I would have been maybe in year 5 or 6 at that point. Yeah. So
and you just
before I
heard
was
about
bleeding and masturbating. Yeah, I think you just, I don't know, how, again, pre-internet, so how the fuck do you hear about this sort of stuff?
Maybe sex ed. Maybe.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. But that was just something that, yeah. My first attempt at mutilating my body.
Holy fuck.
Not in a pleasurable way, of course, but yeah, pretty
Holy
insane.
Shit.
Pretty insane.
Yeah, that's loose, dude. That's fucking hell.
Do you know anyone else that's cut their hymen?
I actually definitely have heard at least one person tell me that they've done that. Yep. Yeah, I think maybe a client years and years ago. I don't think it was as chill as... It sounds like it was for
okay.
me. I can't really remember though. I remember being quite shocked though. I was like, whoa! You did what? Fucking hell.
Beg your pardon?
Not that I let that show.
Hey, baby babes. Sorry to interrupt. I just had to pop my head into the lounge here and mention another virtual lounge that I'd love you to get around. It's the Labia Lounge Facebook group that I've created for listeners of the poddy to mingle in. There you'll find extra bits and bobs like freebies, behind the scenes, or discounts for offerings from guests who have been interviewed on the podcast. There'll also be, hopefully, inspiring, thought-provoking conversations and support from a community of labial legends like yourself. My vision for this is that it becomes a really supportive, educational and hilarious resource for you to have more access to me and a safe space to ask questions you can't ask anywhere else. So head over to the links in the show notes or look up the Labia Lounge group in Facebook and I'll see you in there. And now, back to the episode.
Okay, so back to like you having just like super gorgeous, cute little friends and like a cute friendship group.
And no hymen.
And no. Oh my God. Like, I want to hear about how you guys had a shared journal.
Yeah.
Because I've written that down as a note. With like,
yeah,
but I don't remember that.
Do you remember
story.
the Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants?
Yeah, fucking loved that, dude.
Yeah, and did you ever read Kylie Mole Morgette?
No.
Oh, was this? Oh, so funny. I'm not going to touch too much on Kylie Mole Morgette because I'm going to completely butcher it. I don't remember the details of the story, but it was this novel that we were just obsessed with. And so yeah, we started a shared journal because again, we're in a country town. I reckon I was living probably 40 minutes from one of the girls and maybe 25 or 30 minutes from the other, but we were all going to the same school, which was about 45 or 50 minutes from me. But yeah, there was quite a bit of travel distance between us, but I think it started as like just a really funny way of documenting what we'd gotten up to on the weekends and, you know, who our crushes were in school, and it was just became this really gorgeous way of, a keepsake, if you wish. Not that we knew that that's what it was at the time, but we've kept them. We've still
who's got
them.
it?
I've got one of them.
Oh my God, I would love to read that.
Yeah, one of the girls who lives internationally now, she was telling me that she's got them stored at her husband's parents' place. I'm like, what the hell? Hope they don't read them.
Oh my God.
But yeah, a lot of it is just, you know, classic teenage girl stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the stories I reckon would just horrify your parents. Like, I remember writing about going trick-or-treating in there when we were 13 years old, and we were pretty much approached by an older gentleman who was definitely, you know, being predatory, and, you know, we're writing about him having a boner in his pants and like all this sort of stuff. It's just hilarious.
Oh my God, you should have fucking given him the old...
Oh, the razzle dazzle. Oh, so funny. And I remember the journal entry specifically about that was saying that it was talking about me trying to impress this guy. It was like, Georgie's so naive.
I'll cut that out. She's so naive.
She's so naive. Look at her, like she's flirting with this creep, this pedophile. Yeah, so it was really sweet having this gorgeous journal where we spoke about all our friends and
you just bring it
our
to school
friendship.
And someone else would have a turn.
Yeah, pretty much. You'd keep it for a week or a weekend at a time and then swap them over and
read each other's entries and stuff.
Yeah, we had love letters to each other. Like, you know, we did things that I really like about you. I remember we had like it's actually brutal, some of the stuff. We did a pros and cons.
About each other?
About each other.
Oh, wow, that's fucking, some self-development work right there.
Totally.
Shit.
Totally. Yeah, actually, so funny. I should bust them out and we should read them.
That would be an epic
episode.
Dude, if people listen to this and you want to hear some of the journal entries, please hit me up. Even if one person gets in touch with me, I'll be like, okay.
Find us a reason to find a journal.
Yeah, that's fucking sick, dude. I love that so much.
Yeah, so good. Honestly, this everything that happened with this group of girls was just in the name of humour.
I love that.
It was so
no wonder
fueled.
You turned out like such a legend. I don't know how I'm so funny. I didn't have any of this shit.
Yours is innate.
Oh, doubt it. I probably wasn't.
Mine's nurture, not nature.
Actually, I did get told, I was like sorry to just interject. I was just trying to fish for stories from a friend from high school just for this new job that I've got where I need stories of me in high school. And he did say, like, oh, you were kind of really, like, social butterfly, like, fitted into all these different groups, but you were definitely always in, like, the group of, like, funny girls. So I was like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought that. But then I thought about all the other people in our year level, and I was like, yeah, we were pretty playful and funny and stupid. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it was just all in the name of humour. Like, even things that we approached, there was nothing actually, now I'm thinking about it, there was literally nothing sexy about it. It was just all stupidity.
That's sexy ass.
It was just, yeah, I don't think we knew how to be sexy because we were just being, you know, big bloody idiots.
It was all about, like, getting the lol for the rest of the gang and having a great story rather than, like,
100%.
well, but that's so much healthier than, like, what probably most, like, young women and teenagers felt, which was, like, how can I impress boys and, like, do the things that are expected of me because of peer pressure and because, oh, I need to have sex and just get it out of the way, or, oh, he wants me to give him a blowjob and I'm too scared to say no and that's what everyone's doing and I'll be a frigid otherwise. And whereas you guys were just, like, confident enough and had each other just boosting you up and had this whole kind of, like, reward of, like, being able to tell a funny story to your girls. So you were less concerned about stuff than most other chicks would have been, I reckon. Which is beautiful.
Yeah, and again, I think, speaking from my own experience, I can definitely relate to, you know, feeling like, you know, you want that guy to like you, so you're going to do what's cool by them. But whenever I was in this group scenario, I couldn't give a shit. Like, the girls really empowered me, which was beautiful. And one of the girls in particular, like, again, small country town, so when there's a girl from out of town that's visiting the town, it's like, you know, all the boys like, oh, who's that? And we were of the age where, you know, you sneak out at night. So I remember sneaking down to the local footy oval to meet up with a couple of guys who were keen to see my friend because she's not from here, you know. So, like, let's go hook up at the footy oval, you know, we'll bring the goon sack. We're like, yeah, cool, no problem. So down we went to the footy oval. And this one guy in particular was like to my friend, yo, you want to hook up? And she's like, yeah, definitely. So she skips off with him into a dark corner, and this poor guy, he's thinking, I'm fucking king shit, you know, I've just lured this hot bae from out of town, and she's game. She's not like these local frigid girls. She's straight off the bat like, yep, let's get it, boy. So he's like, you know, pulling out his dick, and he's like, you want to give me a head job? She's like, yeah, absolutely. And she starts seducing him, so he really thinks she's going there, and she bends down to his penis. He's holding it out there, and she holds it in one hand, and then she goes down, she's about to put her mouth on it, and she pauses, takes a big whiff, and then she slaps his erect penis. And then gets up and runs away, and he's like, ew, not today. And that move very quickly became known as the sniff and slap, which would be the most humbling for any teenage
traumatizing.
boy.
Traumatizing.
You know what? Actually, I don't know about traumatizing. I think a lot of men need that. I think if more men had that, there would probably be
better
less shit
hygiene?
men. Yeah, 100%.
Well, it sounds like, yeah, because, like, on one hand, I'm like, oh my God, like, if that was, like, a sensitive little lad, like, bless, poor thing, he thinks he's, like, about to get his first blowjob to impress his mates because that's the done thing at that age or whatever, and then now he's got, like, penis shame because he thinks he has a stinky dick, and then for the rest of his life he can't get an erection properly, and he has to, like, he washes it 3 times a day and strips all the oils from it and gets dick infection. Like, I'm thinking about, like, how that could go.
Yeah.
And if that was, like, a chick, honestly, imagine being a teenager and having someone go down there, sniff it and be like,
Yeah, but
fuck
guys
it.
do that.
Exactly, and how
Yeah.
much does it fuck us up? But then and like
But
hearing,
the patriarchy exists,
yeah,
right?
and
So-
hearing you talk about how like half the time these guys would react by being like, oh, what, is that it? Like, what, can't you even give me a wristy or something, you bitch? Like, you know, like they were obviously just peer pressuring these chicks into trying to like...
100%. They felt so entitled to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So I love it.
yeah, right.
But I'm like, oh God, I feel like the sex coach in me can't love that. But then the woman in me is like, fuck yeah, fucking fuck yeah, sister. Just absolutely put him in his place, because like the amount of fucking teenage boys coercing teenage girls into doing shit they're not comfortable with and then bragging about it. And then who knows, if she'd sucked that dick, probably would have gotten around school that she was a slut and that they'd had full-blown sex and whatever else. So like, you know.
And yeah, the inability of him to tell the story, I think, is, you know, the key takeaway. It's like so humbling going back to your group of mates and being like, nah, didn't get any. Like, but you got to cop that rejection.
Yeah.
You got to cop it.
Dude, the sniff and slap.
The sniff and slap.
Oh, and then...
Unbelievable.
And then it just became a thing that she did.
Yeah, I reckon I did it once as well. Just tried it on for size. I mean, yeah, I don't think she did it all the time, obviously. It was just like...
But it was a
it's
signature
just a
move.
funny... Yeah, signature move, and so funny as well.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's the kind of... Obviously, if you like the guy, you don't do it. But it's like, for these cockhead wankers that think they're king shit, it's like you're giving them a taste of their medicine.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God, yeah.
So need that.
Dude, fucking oath. Like, that is very funny to me.
It's very funny.
like, you know, very, very problematic for certain reasons, but I fucking love to hear about a teenage girl that had the confidence and didn't give a shit enough about what guys thought of her. Like, that's like, you know, even though it's maybe not the healthiest expression of like, you know, having boundaries or whatever, it's like more than I've ever heard a teenage girl have in terms of like confidence, self-worth, boundaries, not fucking succumbing to peer pressure, putting other like boys in their place, you know, like actually that's so rare and it's so not encouraged or socialized into girls. So I'm like very impressed and I fucking love that. And the ripple effect of that on your whole group, like all of you are just empowering each other.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think that's not something that I ever would have done on my own. It's not something that I would have come up with, or, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot and it was me, I probably would have felt pressured because, you know, I grew up with a narc as a dad and I grew up a people pleaser. So that would not have been, you know, my story. And I'm so lucky to have a friend like her that sort of paved the way with humour, you know, approaching these things, which at the time we just thought it was funny. We didn't really look at it from the lens of, wow, this is like actually educational for a lot of men and this is important that we're standing up for our boundaries. Like, we didn't have the language around that at the time. It was just a funny, stupid thing that we did.
Yeah, wow.
But I rate it.
Oh my God, I rate it so hard.
Yep.
That's fucking hilarious. Wow.
Do you reckon we should teach my daughter the snip and slap?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well,
a few years off that.
Yes, but we've just got to teach her to differentiate between the ones that fucking need a good sniff and slap and the ones that actually deserve some tenderness. If anyone's making her feel uncomfortable or not taking no for an answer or pressuring her, then definitely the sniff and slap should be the move.
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah. Fuck. Wild. Well, do you know what I was thinking, just back to the clam cave situation?
Yeah.
Maybe what we could do is like normalize self-pleasuring, and when we, you know, not that it really ever happens if like all of us are home, where one of us is like, see you later guys, I'm just going to go to the clam cave and have a bit of a mess. But like if we use language around it being like, oh, just having a trip to the pussy shack or fuck, I don't know. And if she sees that we prefer to go and just like have some quiet time in our rooms or whatever, without saying you have to be in private, it just sort of models like, oh, generally adults do tend to just like.
Well, that's I was going to actually ask that question of you, because
cool. Like modeling, putting in a tampon and stuff, easy.
Yeah, what do you
do that
reckon?
all the time. Do you? I don't necessarily want to model to her how I masturbate.
Yeah,
That
I was gonna
feels-
ask you, like,
Yeah, I don't want her to get any of my, like, that's her journey. I want her to figure out what she likes without watching me shove a fucking rabbit up my vag, you know?
Yeah, well, more just that, like, we openly talk about that, and
Yeah.
when we notice she's, you know, rubbing against something or whatever, we can be like celebrate that by being like, oh, having a fun little time in, you know, the bean room or whatever. Like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing. We don't have to do any of this. We could just use fucking normal language. But yeah, it feels like a cute way to just talk about it normally, and then if we talk about how we do that as well, it's just normalized, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't know about mazzing in front of her.
No, I
hey?
don't think so. But, like, what if she walks in?
Well,
Let's
that's-
just say she walks in on me doing it.
We just explain.
Stopping
it,
what
like-
you're doing and you're explaining what you're doing,
Yeah.
and then you're commencing again at another time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, if she asks questions, you just answer them, and I think that's all you can do, really. Yeah, and not like acting ashamed, not hiding anything, just being like, just welcoming her curiosity.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think that initial reaction is,
the most important.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's something that's so hard to suppress because it's almost like an automatic learned response, right?
Yeah.
You've got to really like be consciously aware that that's coming up and be like, oh, actually, you know, there's so much power in the pause, but it's pretty hard,
sometimes,
it's
especially
really
if you get
hard.
busted and you immediately just jump and you're like, oh, yeah,
Or if I'm busting her and I'm shocked in a
yeah.
way, yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. True.
Yeah. God, pays to be regulated, tell you what.
Oh my god, dude, what's that like?
Still working on it, so I'll let you know.
I want to hear about your story of, speaking of like childhood shame, getting dacked in front of everyone.
Oh,
Such a
yeah.
good story. It's so cute.
I was so young.
It's really
I was
brutal.
it was my first ever school camp. I was in grade 3.
Oh,
And again, I was the
At
age of
least-
I was the age of a second grader. So
Yeah.
what's that, 7 or something?
well, at least
so
you weren't
young.
older. Imagine if you were older.
Yeah.
When you've learned to be embarrassed.
yeah,
about all
true. I just don't know if it was the right, like... Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll tell the story and
Yeah.
then you can decide if it was the right thing to do. But it was something that I subsequently got teased about for many years. So, yeah, it wasn't, like, great the way that things unfolded. But I was away on school camp and we were given pieces of fruit. Like, the bus had stopped somewhere. And, you know, we were all having a piece of fruit for a snack and I had an orange. And so we're standing in this sort of bushy clearing and I'd walked off towards the edge of the bush to throw my orange peel in the scrub. And I'd trodden on an ant's nest and instantly these ants just went straight up my pants and they were gnarly ants, dude. They were like fire ants or bull ants or something. They were massive and they were straight up my leg. Obviously I just started jumping around like a headless chook and the teachers sort of rushed over to help me because I was just
And they were
smacking my
biting
legs.
you?
They were biting me,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it was insane. And the teachers pulled my pants down in front of everyone. Obviously, I was jumping around. I was making a lot of noise. Like, you can imagine me like, slapping my leg. And the teachers rushed over to my aid. And so they'd pulled my pants down in front of the entire camp. And everyone was just standing around watching me with my pants down and these teachers just smacking ants off my legs.
Oh my God.
And...
Undies as well?
Yeah, took my undies off as well. I was completely butt naked down the
babe.
bottom because they were all like, they
Yeah.
were biting around my vulva and
Yeah.
they were everywhere.
Oh,
it was
dude.
so gnarly.
What the fuck?
Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Don't know if I still had my hymen at that point. Probably did.
Hopefully, otherwise I could have crawled on up there.
Little curtain, little meat curtain. Anyway, so, you know, that became a bit of a thing where I was like, oh, Georgie had her pants stacked in front of everyone and Georgie with ants in her pants. Like, yeah, I was taunted about that for years and years to come.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a bit sad.
That's so brutal. And also, like, potentially, like, slightly unavoidable if they, like, obviously there was urgency about the situation and you were in pain. And so they just wanted to act as quickly as possible to remove the ants. But, like, yeah, I mean, ideally if they'd pause for a second, be like, okay, can we, like, put her behind the bus? One teacher stays with the kids, one teacher takes her into private. Just to shield you from, like, being seen.
Or can someone, like, you know, round up the other kids and, like, you know, distract them, give them something to do rather than literally all eyes on me, staring at my bare ass, getting whacked over and over again.
Oh, my God. That's traumatic, dude. Holy fuck.
Yeah, so weird. I ended up getting quite sick on that camp too. And I don't know if it was related to the ants or what, but I ended up going to hospital. I was really dehydrated and it was my first, like, hospital stay, I think, from memory.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was where I got my fear of needles from as well. So,
oh, that's an awful school camp.
Yeah, it was, honestly, I never wanted to go on school camp again. But did I go on school camp again? Yeah, absolutely. I did as I was told. So, yeah, I hated school camps. They were fucked, man.
What about in high school when you could just bring your toothbrush with your gal pals?
Nah, I still didn't like them. I don't know. I'm trying to think how many school camps I went on in high school. Once I got to high school, I remember being like, I don't know, I started to feel a bit, I was comparing myself to others.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, I hated being on school camp because I wasn't particularly athletic. You know, I just felt like I wasn't cool, like I wasn't a cool girl. I remember being embarrassed that, like, you know, all the cool girls would be at camp and, you know, they've got cool clothes and, you know, I was embarrassed just about who I was. Yeah, to some degree. And, yeah, I wasn't comfortable being me around, you know, my peers, really. Apart from, like, I remember specifically, like, those late primary school years, I definitely felt like that. And then, yeah, early high school. And then it changed a bit as I got older because I got a bit cooler, like the more I sort of got into high school. But yeah, that awkward age where, like, you know, you're a bit chubby and, like, you know, you haven't, like, grown into yourself much. I was uncomfortable with who I was and I was shamed for being, like, I was always really quite outgoing and, you know, loud and gregarious, and I was shamed for that. Like, yeah, the boys were like, oh, you're the class clown. Like, you know, you're the class mouth. Like, I copped that a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck. And that's just actually, like...
It's just bullying, ultimately.
Yeah, and also, like, discouraging something that even despite all of the, like, socializing and conditioning of, like, girls to be, like, meek and mild and quiet and not take up too much space, you were defying that, and, like, it's why you're such a fucking legend. And, like, yeah, people were trying to squash it even back then from such a young age. Like, yeah, it's fucking sad. It's great that you still turned out dope, though.
Yeah.
And, like, thanks to having friends like that as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, right? Even just escaping my last relationship, like, I was thinking again, I was like, that's yet another time where someone's tried to minimise me.
Yeah.
And quash who I was, right? Like, it's so, like, no one wants to see someone being happy and being themselves. Like, I shouldn't say no one, but there's people out there that really don't like that. Men in particular feel uncomfortable with that.
Especially narcissists like your ex.
100%.
Yeah, like,
100%.
Well, I mean, it's impressive that you've still hung on to it and, like, are passing that on to your daughter as well, like, encouraging that headstrongness and the being outspoken and the being expressive and the being loud and just, you know, like, really not squashing it at all. And it really fucking shows. You know?
Thanks, dude.
She's such a sick bitch. She's a fucking queen. And I can imagine, like, you as a kid, like, a little bit, like, just, you know, dancing and singing around the place and being, like, just super expressive and, like, yeah, just fucking frothing out over music and dance. And she's also already got a sense of humour, you know, like, she's already funny. So, yeah.
That is wild to me too, because I'm like, how does that happen? Like, what even? I don't know.
Well,
I love it.
Hilarious.
I'm not complaining at all, but yeah,
Well, like, she's so funny because we encourage it heaps, and when she does or says something funny, we react, and then she's like, oh, okay, I know how to get a lol out of these bitches. She's bloody playing us. One last, so the ants thing reminded me of like a guy friend who was telling me these stories of, like, just the silly shit that they got up to, him and his mates, when they were kids, just to entertain themselves, because, like, you know, also country town vibes, like, no internet, you know, pre kind of social media. You just try to fucking get up to shenanigans. It was like the OG what are they called? The fucking Steve-O and...
Oh, Jackass.
Yeah, it was like OG Jackass.
Yeah,
like
we love
PG.
Jackass. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, that was huge inspo,
Big inspo.
wasn't it? Yeah, definitely.
So, like, these guys, they would be at, like, one of their houses had a swimming pool in the backyard, and there was, like, a little hill up above the swimming pool, and there was an ant's nest on there, and they used to sit on the ant's nest with their bare bum and see how long that they could sit on it, and just let the ants bite them and crawl on them until they, like, had to, like, jump up, and then they'd sprint and, like, bomb into the swimming pool, because like the pool was right there, so it's kind of like you sit on the ant's nest as long as you can, and then you jump in the water and it just, like, washes them away. And I'm like, that sounds fucked. Like, that does not sound... That's definitely the kind of thing that little, like, young boys would do for fun, and I don't think I know any of my friends that would have done something like that. So funny though. Excuse this quick interruption. I'm shamelessly seeking reviews and 5-star ratings for the potty because, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, it's pretty fab, and the more people who get to hear it, the more people I can help with it. Reviews and ratings actually do make a big difference to this little independent podcaster. And it's really easy to just quickly show your support by taking that simple act of either leaving 5 stars for the show on Spotify, or even better, writing a written review and leaving 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Or if you're a real overachiever, you can do them both. That would be mad. If you're writing a review, though, just be sure to use G-rated words, because despite the fact that this is a podcast about sexuality, words like sex can be censored and your review won't make it through the gates. Lame. Anyway, I would personally recommend doing that right now while you remember, just to get on top of it and let me know you're with me on this journey. Thanks, gang. Enjoy the rest of the epi. Yeah, so something else. One other thing. One last thing. Oh,
it will not be the last thing. There's many more.
Adult diapers. Go.
Oh. So niche.
Talk to me. So
funny. Again, something that was just born out of wanting to be silly and funny.
Well, and also having like you've got bladder stuff, hey?
Yeah, I've
like, it's a necessity.
It's not a necessity, but it was like, oh, this will be funny and convenient at the same time, so I'm going to roll with it. It's like, I remember having a couple of guys being like to me, oh, this is some kink thing, isn't it? Like, this is, you know, do you sell your diapers, or do you know, is this something that you do? I'm like, no, not at all. It's just me being a fucking idiot. But yeah, obviously they sell adult diapers just at the supermarket for valid reasons, for, you know, people with incontinence. And I'm definitely not at diaper necessity level. But I was going to a festival. Actually, did it start at the festival? Yes, it did. It started at a festival, and I thought it would be funny to dress up like a baby. So in true commitment to the bit, I went out and bought some adult diapers. And in wearing them at the festival, it was not just a costume. It was, you know, it was a practicality thing as well. It was so fucking good not having a queue to go to the toilet, not having to leave the dance floor, you know, when your favourite artist is about to come on and you've been at the front for the last hour and you don't want to lose your spot. Like, wearing an adult diaper was revolutionary for me. Even just like, it even got to the point where I was like, this is so good. I'm going to wear them to bed because, you know, like you go to bed in the middle of the night or whatever time it is, the early hours of the morning, and then you're jolted awake by your full bladder because you've been drinking booze all night. Just not having to leave the cold, like leave the tent and go out into the cold and pop a squat, you know, in broad daylight where everyone was seeing you. I was like, I'm just going to lay in bed and piss in my nappy.
Oh my God.
It was so funny and good. And yeah, there were heaps of people that were like, that is actually repulsive. That is so disgusting, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you don't have to wear it. I don't care. I think this is funny. And lots of people thought it was very funny too. So yeah, I love wearing a nappy to a festival. But it's even funnier if you make it part of the outfit because then you get less judgmental looks. Like, I can't imagine wearing a nappy and then like zipping up some tight jeans on. Yeah, it wouldn't work. Like, you got to wear it under like your little silly dress and then, you know, you flash out your nappy when you're being a bit silly. So yeah, it was a staple costume for a long time.
Oh my God, that's so fucking funny. And like, so, because I was like, I've never like worn a nappy and pissed in one, but I just imagine like, you know, sometimes my pisses are big. Like, doesn't the nappy get heavy and like moist and soggy and then like annoy you? And like, don't you need to change it after you wee in it once?
Nah, I don't. I mean, it depends on the size of your wee, but they are designed to hold like a lot. And I think the technology, it's not like you're wearing the terry towel and cloth with the safety pin that we wore when we were babies. Like, they're actually pretty good. You can feel it's definitely something like wet and heavy, but they're pretty good at like wicking the moisture away. Yeah, the technology's amazing these days.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not that it feels just like warm. Like, you're just sitting in some nice warm. I mean, you're really sitting. You're sort of you're up and about dancing. Yeah. I mean, the alternative is you can just pull your G-string to the side and just piss standing up. Yeah.
Standing up, fuck.
But if that splashes on people's feet, they're not going to be very happy.
Yeah. Nah, nappy's the way to go, I reckon.
Nappy's very good. And if you do a shart.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you do sharts?
No, I didn't. I've never pooed in one. I've never pooed in one. Because who's going to wipe my ass? Oh, me. Oh, that's right. I'm an adult. Who's going to change my nappy?
Oh, my God. I fucking love that because also, yeah, I mean, it's so annoying and inconvenient, like, needing to wee at that point when, you're like, it's like there's a massive line to the toilets, it's, like, cold, you're in the dance floor with your friends, you don't want to lose them, you don't want to have to, like, leave.
Yeah.
And then I think, what's the name of the condition of the whole bladder thing where, like, you don't get a warning that you need to wee until it's, like, immediately upon you?
Overactive bladder.
Okay, yeah. So, like, obviously that snuck up on you a few times at festivals previously and you'd accidentally pissed yourself.
Yeah.
So this is, like, perfect.
Honestly, yeah. I get very urgent very quickly. So I don't piss myself all the time, but I'm no stranger to wetting my pants.
Yeah.
Because, I will just be, all of a sudden, I'll be like, holy shit, I'm busting. And something that's really quite common is with overactive bladder is, like, key in the door syndrome.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, as soon as you get really close to the door and you're putting the key in the door, you're like, oh, I'm busting. And that is actually a learned behaviour because your bladder and your brain are on a loop where, there's obviously feedback going back and forwards. And what I learned from my pelvic health physio was that if we're constantly giving into the urge to urinate when we are really busting, that sort of reinforces to our brain that, well, that's when you go to the toilet. That's when you release, is when you're really busting. And you're basically ignoring your body's warning signs. Because most people would get, you get an early warning sign that you need to go to the toilet. You're like, oh, yeah, I can feel something there and I need to go to the toilet. And then from that early warning sign, most people can hold on for, an hour or maybe more. But in my scenario, what basically happens for me is it's almost like those early warning signals are so small that I don't really feel them. I'm sort of just getting the later signals where it's like
urgent.
Yeah, pretty urgent. Like, I mean, I can hold on sometimes, but yeah, it really depends. It really depends. So that was fascinating. Learning, because again, that was something I thought that was my pelvic floor being weak. And then I learned that this is actually a really, really common thing when you are trained, usually by your parents, quite innocently. They don't know otherwise, but, quick, do a wee before you get in the car. Quick, do a wee before you go to bed. Quick, do a wee before, we go into this thing where you can't move for an hour. Like, even if you don't need to wee, emptying your bladder is not helpful because, again, that's training your bladder. You're not learning to hold on for as long as you can. You're not giving your bladder that retention practice, I guess. It's sending mixed signals to your brain. Oh, maybe I'm busting now. So that was something else that I learned. I would feel really busting, and then I would do a wee and 100 mils would come out. And it's like, that's weird. Well, that's that loop being reinforced. Yeah, it doesn't really matter whether I am capable of filling my bladder, because when I'm holding on for longer periods overnight, I was doing much, much larger wees, but it was only, it was just very random in terms of what was actually getting through to the old brain.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, well, fuck, having the peace of mind of a nappy at a festival when you're drinking lots of liquid and you're in an altered state of consciousness.
You don't want to piss the bed at a festival.
What a hack. What an absolute hack. That's fucking
I've
great.
clocked it.
That is absolutely sick. Dope.
And also a lot of sympathy for your child that pisses themselves,
Yeah.
No shame around that.
Oh my God.
Again, though, so inconvenient. Piss is not fun to clean, but, not helpful to shame that.
Yeah. Sick. Well, the only thing I have on my list that isn't to do with parenting with a narcissist, which I feel like we could do a follow-up episode, part 2 of, is Sexy Soul Sister. And I also have cane toad races because that was a fucking great story. But yeah, just whatever you feel like starting.
Well, Sexy Soul Sister was, again, just me being an idiot. Purchasing the domain name, this would have been 10 years ago. Purchased the domain name Sexy Soul, S-O-L-E, sister.com.au.
Like the sole of your foot.
The sole of your foot, yeah. With the view that that's going to be my site for foot porn. Yeah, and I'm going to sell all my feet pics on there. And so researching how to go about that was fascinating because I don't know anything about it really, but I sort of started dipping my toe in, pardon the pun, to that world of what does this look like and what do people want, and the requests were so funny. Can you take a photo of you on a ladder? People that love feet love just seeing your feet do interesting things. They don't have to be particularly attractive feet.
Yeah.
Because, it's subjective. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, can I see your feet in some stockings? Have you ever worn red shoes before? It was so,
So did you make the website?
Funny. I didn't actually set it up so that I could sell photos from the website. I got the domain name because I'm that was the view. I was I'm going to get rich off my feet pic.
So how are you getting requests from people on another site?
So it was, I can't remember the name of it, but there was I don't know if it was a blog or a chat room or there was one of those sorts of
Fetish
site. It was another fetish site, where you could connect with
FetLife?
Oh, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, this is 10 years ago now. But yeah, that was again, content creation, never ever my strength. But yeah, it's just something that I thought would be really funny.
That's
and-
fucking sick. So when you got some requests, did you like ever take any photos and send them and
Yeah, because I think a lot of it is like, again, I'm not an influencer.
Yeah.
Like, how was I going to possibly push, I needed to make some connections and build my brand.
It's
and
actually
like,
so hard to make decent money off that. Yeah.
Dude. Well, that's what I realized in the end. I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to push this because I didn't want it to be associated with me as a person. I just wanted it to be something on the side that I did in secret that, generated me squillions, which was not very realistic now that I know about it. But yeah, it was so fascinating, like, going to get pedicures and taking photos of my feet and sending them to random men across the globe. And
did you make much money?
Nah, I didn't even make any money because I realized I was so out of my depth. Like, I was not able to build a website to the point where, I was, gonna make that a real thing. It was just something that I fantasized about doing.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
yeah.
I love that. Well, we've all been there. We've all thought, hey, wouldn't it be sick to just make heaps of money off foot photos or,
Pretty hard as a no one, though, even if you've got gorgeous toes.
Yeah, it's so much work. It's actually so much fucking work. It's running a business. It's building a following. It's being online all the fucking time, messaging back so many people. Like, it's so much work.
Well, that's what I learned, It was these men just wanted to talk endlessly about things that your feet had done. And I'm like,
oh my
hang on a
God.
second here. They're just getting...
They're getting a free wank.
They're getting a free wank. Yeah, silly me. Anyway.
Nah, well, we've all done it. I've done it. Oh.
We've all done it.
Cool. Cane toads? Can you be fucked telling another story?
Cane toads. Oh, God. What about the cane toads was so funny
It
to
was
you?
just,
You
I
love
don't
that
know, the
story.
way that you told that story. Maybe it was because I was stoned, but it was really funny and entertaining to me. I don't know.
Is it?
I think it was just the novelty of, like, the fact that that's a thing and then, like, your daughter's reaction.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, so true. So we recently went to far north Queensland for a holiday. And where we went, beautiful, beautiful town of Port Douglas, like a resort town, and it's known for cane toad races. They do these cane toad races in the town at the local pizza restaurant. And it was just my daughter and I on the holiday. So we weren't there with a group of friends or anything. And my daughter's such a little princess, isn't she? Like, she's a real delicate little flower.
And she has sensory sensitivity.
Yeah, she's not the kind of person that would naturally associate with a cane toad. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah.
But her mother, on the other hand, does anything for a laugh and just is like, you know what, this looks silly and fun. So you had to...
Oh, that's annoying. Smoke alarm guy testing the smoke
that's
alarm.
loud.
Yeah, that is loud. Oh well, I think we can probably continue. Hopefully the
bypass
mic's just pointing away from it.
The guy that was facilitating the race was like really quite like, it was a classic...
A showman.
He was a showman, but, he was also a classic far north Queenslander. Like, he was drinking VB stubbies. And, he was a real bloke. He used to work at the crocodile, like the local reptile farm, and he used to, chase crocodiles upriver. And
Real Dundee type.
Real Dundee type, really funny. But to be involved in the cane toad races, he essentially auctioned off the toads. So, you got to pay for your toad to get into the race. And being in the property field, I was no stranger to an auction, so I jumped in and I got us a toad.
And like, did he like say, this one's known for like its, prowess in wet weather, and this one's really fast on the inside? Like,
yeah, there was like, I reckon there was 6 or 8 toads, and they all had, like humorous names. Like, they were all just silly. Like one of them was, oh God, I wonder if I should get them up so that I'm not
my
just talking out
God.
of town here.
What,
Because
you
it will be
can
funnier
get the
if I have the
names
real
up on
name.
his
Yeah, because I
website?
took photos.
of
I took
the-
photos and videos.
Gotcha.
So let me just scroll through my camera roll to when we had our holiday because
so funny.
it will make for a better story, I think.
Fuck yeah. How's this poor smoke alarm guy just being like, what are these bitches lying out there naked, just living a life of luxury on a weekday? It's like,
He might be leaving now. When the weather's nice, this is what we do. All right, we're nearly there. Bear with me, thank you. Here we are. So the names of these toads are Jerry Springer.
oh, because they're springing.
Boing. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Fat bastard.
Okay, classic.
Skippy's love child.
What? Oh my God. Okay.
Camel toad.
That's my fave.
That was the one I really wanted,
Damn.
but I didn't get that one. Donald Jump.
Oof. I hate that.
Jebediah Springfield.
Okay, 2 springs. That's.
And our toad was Aussie.
Oh my God.
So bogan, right?
Oh my God.
But whenever he said Aussie, the crowd had to go, oi, oi, oi.
Oh my God.
So it was like, a bit of a theatrical event whenever he was speaking about our toad. So they did 2 races with the toads. The first race was pre-auction. So the first race was like, at random draw from the crowd or anyone that had a birthday or whatever. However he picked them, he'd pick 6 people to race in the first race. Mm-hmm. And then after the toads had done the first race, then he'd do the auction, which was really quite smart because the toads that won the first race, people would be like, oh, I'm going to
pay more money.
I'm going to pay more money for that, right?
True.
But as we know, they're animals. They're highly unpredictable and there was no real method
correlation,
it didn't really make much difference. So our toad came 4th in the first race.
Nice.
But nevertheless, that was one that we bid on and that was the one that we got. And how the toads are actually supposed to race is they start off in a bucket in the middle of the table. And the whole idea is that it's a round table and you've got to stand around the table at any point. You have to catch your cane toad in your hand. Ideally, if you can't touch the table, so you can't pick the toad up. You either have to catch it as it's jumping off the table or you have to get it once it's on the ground and then you've got to run to the other side of the room and plonk it in a bucket. But th're all starting in the one bucket upside down on the table essentially. And so he, on your marks, get set, go. He lifts the lid off the bucket and these toads some of them just stay still and do absolutely nothing, and others are, jumping around at all ends of the table.
And everyone's like yelling and cheering them on.
Yeah, everyone's yelling and cheering, and he gave you a little party blower, that.
Oh my
yeah. So you've got a party blower, so you can blow your toad in the right direction.
I forgot about that.
If you think that's going to help. So, it's quite funny because there's all these kids that are blowing. People are cheering for their toads.
That sounds like mayhem.
It was honestly madness. And my 3-year-old daughter, who was just so happy to have the party blower, was just innocently standing on the edge of the table. And her mother, who is just a freak for competition and, just wants to win, I took it so fucking seriously that I just, as soon as the lid's off and it's go, I was like, right, where's our frog? I was like hunting him down. I was being really strategic about where I was standing on the table. I wasn't bothering blowing the thing. Billy was doing that. And while I'm trying to catch the toad, my poor daughter's just got cane toads jumping all over her.
Oh,
and we're in far north Queensland. It's hot, so she's not really wearing a lot of clothes. So she's got cane toads crawling all over her skin, and she's screaming. And I'm completely ignoring her because while that's happening, I've caught the toad in my hand. I'm like, I've got him. I run over to the bucket and I drop him in the bucket. And we won.
And we won. But Billy's, your daughter's having a meltdown.
She's having an absolute meltdown. And there's this poor woman from the crowd, a complete stranger, that's like, oh, there. So the minute that I drop the toad into the bucket, I'm like, oh, where is she? Go and see my daughter on the edge, just like in hysterics, because she's got cane toad juice all over her. And I missed one very important element. Before you put the toad in the bucket, you have to kiss it. You have to kiss it.
Oh, okay.
So I've macked
Smooch the toad.
I've macked on with the cane toad, which was repulsive but quite funny. So I'm just like, I'm cheering. I'm so fucking stoked that we've won this thing because, there was actual prizes. We won a voucher to the restaurant and I've got a stubby holder that, says I've won the race.
My God.
Yeah, prize possession, absolute gold. The photos that follow are so funny because it's like me holding up the toad, like happy as Larry, like, big cheesy grin, and my daughter just like cringing, and she's like doesn't even want to be next to me, but she didn't want a bar of it, the poor thing.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
she's probably going to be scared of frogs and toads forever now.
I really hope not, because I think that was, I wonder if it was just a sensory overload thing for her. I was hoping that by me demonstrating that they're not scary or gross, because like a lot of our fear is learned behaviour, right?
Exactly.
And I didn't want her to. I was like, cool, they wouldn't do this, and he even explained in the preamble that cane toads are poisonous, but not if you're just touching their skin in a certain spot. You have to touch them in this specific location, and it's basically not going to happen while you're here, so don't worry about it. So I was like, cool, fine. I mean, he does these all the time. I believe him. I don't think I'm going to get sick from fucking kissing a cane toad on the lips for 0.1 of a second.
On the lips?
Yeah.
Wow. Are they slimy?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yuck.
warty.
Really?
They're really lumpy.
I've never seen one in real life.
Oh, do you want to see a photo?
Yeah, go on. I've seen photos before, but I guess I just forgot. I couldn't tell if they were like dry, leathery kind of frog skin or like slimy, wet.
Look at the elation on my face from.
Oh my God, you're on such a high.
I'm on cloud 9 and she is just clinging to me for dear life.
Oh my God.
So funny. There's a little slippery guy. Yeah. Not a very clear image, but
face.
very funny.
Can I post that in the Labia Lounge Facebook group for the private members if you're comfortable?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm taunting her with the cane toad. Not my proudest mum moment, but God. Very funny.
She's funny for me. She looks concerned. She's really not on board.
She didn't like it whatsoever. But anyway, look at that. That's a good one, isn't it?
Sick. Send them to me.
I'll send them your way.
That's so good.
Anyway.
Dope. Oh God,
that's my vibe.
That's a good story. That's a good story. Imagine like I've never heard of anything like that. Like, toads in a bucket on the center of a table. Everyone's got party blowers. Like, it's chaos. Like, that's funny, dude.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very funny. And the amount of toads that just, they just hop through the crowd, like all the people that think they're just there to watch and they're not actually involved because they're like, oh, this is disgusting. Yeah. And then you see the toad like hopping on their lap. Yeah, it's just the funniest thing.
That's so good.
It's a must do. If you're in Port Douglas, you got to go to, is it called Chili's? Chili's Pizza Lounge, Chili's Pizza Restaurant.
Hey, me again. If you'd like to support the potty and you've already given it 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on, I want to mention that you can buy some really dope merch from the website and get yourself a Labia Lounge tote, tee, togs. Yep, you heard that right. I even have Labia Lounge bathers. Or a cute fanny pack if that'd blow your hair back. So if fashion isn't your passion though, you can donate to my Buy Me a Coffee donation page, which is actually called Buy Me a Soy Chai Latte, because I'll be the first to admit I'm a bit of a Melbourne cafe tosser like that. And yes, that is my coffee order. You can do a once-off donation or an ongoing membership and sponsor me for as little as 3 fat ones a month. And I also offer one-on-one coaching and online courses that'll help you level up your sex life and relationship with yourself and others in a really big way. So every bit helps because it ain't cheap to put out a sweet podcast into the world every week out of my own pocket. So I will be undyingly grateful if you support me and my biz financially in any of these ways. And if you like, I'll even give you a mental BJ with my mind from the lounge itself. Saucy. And I'll pop the links in the show notes. Thank you. Later.
How's that?
Love that.
Love that?
Love that.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'll have so many more stories. I need to just unlock them from my little brain.
Whenever you think of any, write a little note down for yourself. I feel like we should do like this like once a month or something, just riff on stories and
shit. For sure.
That would be so nice.
Yeah. I don't think I've even told you much about my time, even at like Burning Man or traveling overseas.
No,
Dude,
not at all.
I have so many stories. We'll have to do a whole nother epi on that.
Fuck yeah.
What about masturbating with a shower head? Have I Oh, and you know another place I used to masturbate? On the jets of a spa. I feel like that's probably not that uncommon. But probably not very
heads,
talked about.
Toothbrushes. Well, they've made like a shower head fitting now that's specific. It's a sex toy. It's
wow. Oh my God.
Because everyone's doing it anyway, so they've made like a specific one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Fuck yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, let's do another epi soon about how it's been single parenting after breaking up with baby daddy who's a sociopath, actual sociopath, narcissistic personality disorder, sitch.
Quite literally.
That's a whole other thing, and I think will be really relatable to a lot of people. Sadly, apparently narcissists make up 10%.
Wow.
Which seems high. That seems crazy.
I guess when you consider all the different types of narcissism and the fact that it is on a spectrum, so... Yeah. I mean, fuck. Well, again, interesting tying into the whole, like, shame topic from today, but narcissism is born from shame.
Really?
Yep. Yep, because they're so deeply ashamed of who they are, and that's why they have this whole act, you know, and enjoy making others feel small and worthless and useless because it makes them feel better about their shame. Crazy, right?
Fuck.
No shame here.
Thanks for all the awesome
Thanks for the
stories.
And that's it, darling hearts. Thanks for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. If you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch because that's a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism, and you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify and destigmatize with this here podcast. I'm also always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, questions or guest suggestions, so feel free to get in touch via my website or over on Insta. You can also send me in TMI stories to be shared anonymously on the pod. My handle is FreyaGraf_the Labia Lounge, if my account hasn't been deleted for being too sex positive, which, you know, is always a possibility with censorship. But just in case the chronic censorship finally does obliterate my social channels, I'd highly recommend going and joining my mailing list and snagging yourself some fun freebies for the trouble at www.freyagraf.com/freebies. Anyway, later, labial legends. See you next time.